Hello and welcome to Season 5, Episode 13 of Dualistic Unity. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know what I'm going through. I don't know if I'm going through something that is going to be something that I learn from, something that I grow from, something that I shift. And as difficult as the things that I go through sometimes are, oftentimes those are the things that have the most impact. Those are the things that teach me the most. And I can't know them unless I go through them, unless I feel them fully. And being willing to be uncertain about what the fuck I'm going through allows it to, I don't know, me to handle it a little bit easier. There's a little bit less weight, despite there still being some, just a little bit less than there would be if I tried to figure out exactly what I was going through. That allows me to find out what I'm capable of and learn as much as I can from those situations that I'm going through.
Because attention itself is a skill. And it's really interesting because as you learn to focus your attention, which means really just not distracting yourself, you become very good at almost everything that you really put your attention into. But it becomes also very tempting to take it too seriously. And so there's this weird balance that you have to find between enthusiasm and attention, to not let the attention become so serious that it kills the play that was driving the enthusiasm for that attention to begin with. So it's a delicate balance, and one that you can only find by continuing to throw yourself in, continuing to find yourself a little unbalanced and then learn your way back to center. And it's through that you develop sensitivity. That all said, I'm very excited for this episode. Today, we are joined by Javier Hernandez, and he is a professional footballer. He is the captain of the LA Galaxy Soccer Club. He is considered probably one of the best soccer players of all time, or at least somewhere within that pantheon, as it were, just due to the amount of attention, again, that he has put into it over his lifetime. He shares positively intentioned posts on Instagram all the time. He's been on a number of different interviews where he shares a little bit of his life experience, as well as the support that he's had, but also just the incredible mentality that he brings into his training, his practice, and his life as a whole. So Javier, we're really happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. That was thank you for the introduction. It was amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, I've been involved in a lot of like talks, interviews, podcasts, whatever you want to call it, because not only about the positivity, because I think today's world, sometimes we are stuck even in this fake positivity sometimes. I think life is completely, I heard this in a TikTok, and it was a phrase, or something that I took it, that it was one of the best things we have in this universe as a human beings, is that everything is neutral. Everything happens in the same way to every one of us. So the beautiful part is how we see it and how we decide to feel it. And then sometimes we don't know that what we are feeling is because of what we are thinking and where our thoughts are coming, or at least what are the thoughts, right? So because I understand that this life is about, how do you feel, and how much time you're present through your day, and to try to get that, it requires work, it requires flow, it requires a lot of like healing, it requires a lot of questioning. So something that I said saved my life was the questioning, the whys, and in my life, everything started when I checked everything that society or my family or countries or people around, tell us to achieve or to get, and then it was a moment that I was feeling the same that I was feeling when I was a kid, that that I don't know what else. I don't, like, I cannot understand it, that life is just about like getting stuff, like about quantity, and I didn't understand, and I thought the quality was just achieving. But then there's moments that it's not, we all cannot achieve things, like you said it. Even the soccer skills, I always said it, even Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, that for me, just to put it, these names are the greatest of all time, in this sport. I always said they could have win 2 World Cups, they could have win more Ballon d'Ors, they couldn't achieve. So it's not about that, it's about how much you enjoy it. And I think joy, for example, in particular, it's a word that we confuse with this rush of the chemics inside our body, of this happiness. And it's not about that. It's like, I think the happiness and these moments are a consequence of your self-work. I'm sorry that I spoke a lot, but that's why I'm here. That's why I appreciate, guys, that you allow me to talk, because I am very, very attracted to these conversations, because we are so, like, we crave so much for answers and for equations or formulas to feel this certainty, that when I realized that what helped me when I was a little bit more unconscious, and what it's and nowadays is embracing uncertainty. That's the beauty of life, and it's very difficult. I understand, and it's not pleasant, and most part of the times it doesn't make sense. That's why we are here having conversations, because that's what is all about, conversating, have a very open mind, and do whatever you feel is the best out of you, and that best, it depends in the inside. No, I believe we all are the same consciousness, just in different, like, times. Even the time is subjective, and I don't think it exists, because it's just a present moment. But yeah, man, I'm just here, and I realized that fame, money, etc., are just part of this simulation, part of these games. They are tools, in my point of view. So I'm not my money, I'm not my name, I'm not my nickname, I'm not my skin, I am not even my thoughts, right? I'm the listener of my thoughts. So I think a lot of people don't dare to speak this deep, because I understand it's not comfortable, and it requires a lot of, like, uncertainty and just be you. So authenticity for me is just that. And guys, I appreciate a lot that you have me here, and uh, I'm so happy, so blessed, and I feel very comfortable, because this is not a subject. Life in per se and everything is just something that I think, hopefully, people with these tools, dare to speak more about, because I think that's what we are seeking in connectivity. Social media should be like that, connect with the other selves, with other representations of ourselves, but try to be as vulnerable as we can be. And if you match, and if you feel comfortable, go for it. But if not, it's fine, man. It's everything is fine. I heard so much from Andrew, that everything is fine, and I have a reminder in my phone. That's a mantra, because when you realize everything is fine, because it's very neutral. Everything is fine. It's when you feel light, I think, is when you start getting out, like, all of your aura and all of yourself. And we just came here to, I don't know, I think, to listen to this curiosity that we have, right? That this intuition and this, I don't know, self that it's inside of this vehicle that is our body.
Fucking A, dude. Well said. I'm very excited for this conversation based on what you just gave us right there. Cause that's just it. Like, the willingness to be uncertain about what you're going through, the willingness to be uncertain about what's happening. It's like we glom on to the desire for answers, as opposed to just being the process of finding out, and realizing that it's not about the answers. Like, what, you get an answer, and then what? It's like we strive for that answer, like you said, trying to, strive to get more and more and more, until you realize that, oh, that's not it. And a massive part, I think, of all of this, at least for me, that I'm coming around to more and more recently, is in regards to the application of this conversation. Instead of just the speaking about it, it's like, can you put it into practice? Can you actually do it? And I think you're an incredible example of being able to do that throughout your entire life. And I have a number of questions for you, but I think most recently, one of those applications has been with your recent injury, with your ACL injury. And I know that experience well. I've actually torn my ACL twice in my life, and it's never an easy thing to go through by any means.
It's tough.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's not easy, but it's the willingness to, go through it and not be certain about what it means or what it's going to do, or even the settling upon the idea that it's an objectively bad thing, especially for you as someone who's had such a decorated career. You probably hear the talks about it, like, oh, Javier, he's getting a little bit older. Like, can he come back? So I'd love to hear just about how that's going. I know it's just a relatively recent injury for you, and how you've been able to put some of the things that you just mentioned to us, some of the things that you understand about your perspective on reality and just uncertainty into practice with such a difficult situation like that.
Andrew, sorry, it's being, and I get very overwhelmed and touched of that. And it's not a cliche, and I'm not selling this fake positivity. It's one of the best things that could ever happen to me. You know, it's one of the most richful lessons, you know, and not only the process to recover, but the guys, honestly, I am being very, and you can feel it a little bit of myself. I'm very energetic. I'm very intense. I'm very passionate, and I'm very like, yeah. I normally in my life I live in high frequency of movement. Sometimes, you know, that's why sport and discipline and other stuff give me an amazing way of knowing myself. You know, having a little bit of everything. So why I'm saying all of this, it's like, guys, for the first time in my whole life, I couldn't walk and I couldn't move for 2 weeks. And it was painful, man. It wasn't even of like, oh, let me rest. It was of like, yeah, it was like a bridge that I think underneath myself, I created my reality, that it was like once for all, dude. Like, come on, dude. Like inside myself, like my aura, myself, it was like, man, you are not even that, right? Even though that I've been in this process, even though I've been in 3-4 years, it's been beautiful. It's like I say this phrase of life. Life, I think it's simple but not easy, or simple and difficult. And that's life. I think because it's simple. You need to wake up, you know, you need to eat or not eat, brush your teeth. Like it's simple. Like it's like theory. It's simple. You read, you know what to do. Now the practice, and not even practice. That's why I realize embracing the being, that I think doing and being, it's like this. It's so close that sometimes we confuse it and we feel we are being by doing, and we are not being. You know, because being is, I think, is from where your energy start of being. It's, I feel, I call it in Spanish like en tu centro, in your center, connected with yourself. Then from there, if you need to run marathons, if you need to speak for 24 hours completely, it's not about the amount, it's about from where it's coming, right? So the ACL, man, I think, I mean, all athletes, and you unfortunately suffered twice, Andrew, too. But as an athlete, I think you even prefer a fracture in your body than those type of injuries. Achilles and ACLs are like the most like scary injuries, you know, for everything. So I put myself in these situations once again because my life is being very resilient in certain ways. So I put myself here to realize that first of all, whatever it happens into your simulation, your reality, or your life, it's because you can overcome it or you can handle it, right? That's a belief that I have. Then secondly, literally, it was, I need to go deeper. I need to go deeper. And I think so, a wound that I had very fresh through my whole life, but then I think it was the one that it took me longer to heal. I'm still healing it. It was this solitude and a loneliness that I think everyone as a human being, this void that we know it's part of the existence that will never full, right? And surrender to that, it was what I was very scared through my whole life, right? And I even gonna say it, I think even soccer helped me to avoid going in there. You know what I mean? Like I create a life that I was I thought that creating this amazing and extraordinary life, and again, I always want to explain what when I say extraordinary is without any judgment. It's just lives. I think if you want to have a very ordinary life, it's completely fucking amazing, man. If you want to have an extraordinary life, it means you have to do extraordinary things in your life. So that's why sometimes, and I always over explain it because in my culture in Mexico, they are very sensitive in that sense because they feel that you say extraordinary life, it makes them feel like it's coming from I feel better, my life it's better. No, that's I think one of like tricks or deception that this society tells us. Anyway, so the ACL made me went deep, man, deep. I couldn't move. A couple of friends came here to help me. My family was here before the surgery, but after the surgery, there was 1 or 2 weeks that I slept in my couch because I couldn't go upstairs. I couldn't came to upstairs to my room. Then I have a room down here, but the bed is too slow, so I just stay in the couch for 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks, and as well made me and my ego specifically asking for help, like as not feeling bad for asking for help. Hey man, I forgot my phone in the bathroom, can you help me? Hey dude, please, can you man, the pillow is 2 meters away, right? Help me passing it because of course I can, but too much movement is going to put me in a lot of pain on my knee, etc. So my ACL injury process, it's been a complete blessing and connection because, and I'm going to explain you something. I don't know if you know, it's like not only the conversations are if I'm old or not. Obviously, if you get injured in your 20s about this type of injuries or younger, obviously the narrative and the perspectives are in a different way when you are 35 years old. And I don't my contract finished in November or this December with my club, so it's full uncertainty, Andrew and Ray, full, like if you see it from your ego or the normal perspective, it's like to freak out, right? And man, and because I listened to the injury and I dared to go very deep inside myself, I understood that everything, and I know in theory, that's why I'm telling you, in theory, I've been 7 years knowing this, but it comes from a deep fucking certainty, man. And it's not something that you understand and not even feel. I think you become, it's a very weird feeling to describe, man. It's those feelings, that's why we do this podcast and interviews, and just to try to figure out how we put love, certainty, uncertainty, fear in words, right? Or put it in boxes or descriptions that, okay, we can like say it, but yeah, man, I and it's not something that is like explainable, man. I just know deep inside that it's gonna be not even fine, man, that it's gonna be fucking great. And it's very paradoxical. In the moment when you should be fucking survival mode, crazy, finding answers, solutions. So I think the injury just helped me to completely, not completely, I think fully embrace myself and embrace that uncertainty that void or whatever we want to put it, that we have inside, I think all of us, it's part of ourselves, right? So like you said it, Andrew, yeah, I completely understood. Now I can say they understood because I always said that, for example, the movie The Matrix should be a documentary, It's like Neo cannot explain to you how it feels. It's impossible. And they even put us that how he sees things because that they want to manage the difference. But Neo, not even like, I think even if Neo tried to just dedicate his life to explain how does it feel. It's impossible, man. It's an embrace. That's why the word embrace, even in my country in Spanish, doesn't have a translation, because it says like the translation is like hug, right? But the word embrace, I think it's different than just hugging. Embracing, it's like literally like throwing yourself, like jump yourself to the fucking black hole, that it feels like that, right? I think so, guys. So I think this ACL just, yeah, it was the last, not last, because I think there's no destiny and spirituality and philosophical. There's no place to arrive. Not even death, I think, is a place to arrive. It's something that we didn't even know. What is it? I feel that it could be something amazing, and people feel that it's something that is terrible. I mean, the only thing that we know is like we don't keep living this way that we are living. That's for sure. That's the only thing we know, right? But then a part of that could be fucking something awesome, dude. I don't know. Anyway, but I think it was one of the last stepstones to honestly start being myself truly. And being myself is not if I shave my hair, if I wear this, being yourself. Because I think that's where if you are seeking for an answer, even though it's not an answer, it's when you go so deep, and embrace that uncertainty. Like it's a paradox, like I believe in life. When you embrace and surrender that there's no answer, then everything starts clicking. It's not answering, but everything starts clicking. Now you understand its energy. Now you understand its vibrations and how I can maintain my life like this. That's life. I don't want to get nowhere else. I want to feel high vibrations, but that's a work. It's like the gym, man. You want to see yourself in a certain way. You want to do whatever you want to do. It's practice, it's habits. And I think that's where I am right now, guys. I am so like, even doing the, I'm embracing myself. Sometimes I even feel, and I think you guys that you speak a lot, you can understand me, and we all go. There's sometimes that we speak things that is like, I imagine that there's like a source and things just come, and ideas, and sometimes even that I practice, even that I read, sometimes you say things that when you finish, you are like, where did this idea, this phrase came from, right, guys? And it happens to you. Like, honestly, it's like, okay, cool, it's good. You even take it. You know, it's like you are learning from yourself sometimes, right? Like speaking, and you're like, okay. I have a mentor too about that. I admire him because it's like you guys, they're very good communicators, because I don't feel that I communicate. I mean, I do, but I am more of like a sharing kind of guy, like a kid, right? I'm a Gemini. I have this, you can see, I have this very a genuine and naive still like personality as well, you know. So for me, the maturity, that's why it came late, and the maturity, the responsibility came a little bit late than other people because of that. But then when I realized that it's not about one or another, it's about understanding what's responsibility, right? That I'm not responsible, and I'm going to finish so you can speak, sorry, that I'm not only responsible of myself, I'm responsible of my fucking reality, dude. Reality. It's not about only my life, like reality. That's when it's like, wow. And I understand responsibility, it's overwhelming, man. Of course, it's tough. But that's the work of like, I think those are the small, like, yeah, tricks. And it's not even tricks. I think that's what it's life about, I could say, you know, because then, I mean, achieving, doing whatever, like those moments when it feels that you're almost gonna fucking die or whatever, everyone, we have it. That's why there are wounds and everything. And when you just fucking see that it's not that bad, and you see that sometimes it are just ideas. Another phrase that I learned, guys, and I'm gonna finish with it. Sorry that I said it. It's like, this was a breakthrough in my life like 2 years ago, guys. It was, we think we have ideas, but the ideas have us. oh God, I don't know how to say it in English. It's like we think we got ideas, but sometimes it's the other way around. The idea have you. And it was for me like, I was like, okay, right? It's like, okay. And the ideas, they're going to still be there. Again, is from where your perspective and your willingness and your like actions are coming. I think so.
I absolutely agree. It's really interesting because you mentioned responsibility and the feeling of isolation earlier, and responsibility is the secret to dealing with the feeling of isolation, because even in that state, it's still on you. And so I thought it was really interesting that you had mentioned that soccer had been kind of a distraction, because in soccer you've got this huge support, not just by your family that you've talked about before, but by your team, by the country or the state or whatever that you're playing for, so on and so forth. But when you're in the game, you're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about, because if you were, you would panic. You wouldn't be able to play. So in the same way that you've been able to ask for help from friends lately, it's the same as passing the ball. There's no like, I should feel bad about asking, or I should feel bad about passing the ball. Like, we're all in this together. So there's less of you that's in the way. So I would actually think that playing soccer is actually developed in this ability for you to be more responsible for your own actions moment to moment. I think the danger would be, as with soccer, thinking about yourself too much moment to moment. You are in alignment, as you said, and that's it. When you're not thinking about it, the words are there.
Yeah, the flow state, no, guys. I think that flow state that we all seek and try to get in there, and this paradox of like when you are trying to get there, you will never get there ever, even if you do the perfect equation. It's just, yeah, that flow exactly. That's why I believe, I mean, it's not only I believe, and I think scientifically it's proved that everything it's energy, right, guys? So I think the flow state, it's a frequency. It's a frequency. I believe that a lot, because now I understand, if we have like a computer over here, if I am not my thoughts and I am the listener of it, so my question always was, where the thoughts come from, right? And then you realize it comes from people around you, whatever you want to call it, people around you, even if you were a kid or not, that's the obvious thing. But people, those are the thoughts. So it's a frequency. So it's not that you're gonna be thinking in a certain moment or nothing, or thinking all positive. That's what people do. I think I was confused as well, and I think a lot of people are confused. It's the habit that you create of which thoughts are coming, and to you be so self-aware to decide which thoughts are good for you or not. Good in a way of like, if they're gonna make you keep moving forward, keep saying it, because there are thoughts, of course, like, man, have you meditated? And it was like, oh my God, it's a thought, man. It's not you, it's a thought. You are the listener, and what you do from it. That's why I believe is the conscious behind every act. I always do very extreme example that I don't want to do it here, but it's like, imagine if if I see someone trying to hurt one of my kids and I want to try to punch, well, don't get me wrong, boxing is punching, and we embrace it and we even pay for it to watch it. But then for the sake of it and just for my fucking self pleasure, I want just to punch people for the sake of it. No, of course it's not a correct thing to do. So it's not about even laws or not laws or values or not values. It's about the conscience behind it. Because I even think that there's a lot of people that they think they give love purely and they can hug you, but they are in a very low frequency. That's not love. That's just an action that you are doing, because we don't even know what love is. No one knows, but don't get me wrong, the frequency of it, you can vibe and feel. And most of the time, it is reflected in the reality and the superficiality, man. Of course, if you are very connected with yourself, you are clever, you are knowledge, you know yourself, you have your boundaries, you are very healed, and you are good with numbers, you can be a millionaire. That's not the problem. That's not the issue, right? And then, like I told you, I was very unconscious in certain moments, and I overachieved way more than I could ever even dream about it. That's why my dream big. It's like, for example, in myself, there was a moment that I was like, how do you say, like self like self-punishing me mentally, right? That, man, you know why I didn't achieve what I want to achieve in that moment? Because I didn't dream that big. And I was just like and I didn't understand, man, that in that moment that I am like everything, it's enough. Everything, it's enough. When you understand, like when you detach, it's like layers, man. When you detach of even yourself and you can touch with yourself, your body is even a part of you, your body, guys. So imagine the other layer, the other layer, the other layer. So you become like a player, I call it, of your own life. And like you said, Andrew, name now the processes, because you deeply understood that there's no place to arrive, there's no amount to get, there's no partner to just have, there's no kids, even that I have my two amazing, I love the kids and I love them with all my heart. It's not about that, it's about the inner. Okay, so then everything else are just like mirrors to you. They're just the reflection of how you are deep inside. And we listen it a lot, and we listen it a lot. And even myself, I started listening to this 5 years ago, just to put a number. But I didn't like, yeah, I understand when sometimes people cannot understand, because that's the thing. One, and you said it so much, Andrew, and you too, guys, in this podcast, sometimes it's just about the surrender, right? But we don't know what is surrender. Or in life, supposedly in society, you never surrender, right? You never quit, you never surrender, you never do whatever. So what is surrender? And it's an energy. It's, of course, inside, and very to people to put it in words and they can imagine. Of course, the surrender is literally, but the surrender, what people see surrender like a very, very negative thing. For me, surrender is just like you just like open your arms and let it be, whatever it is, because like, look, even I was feeling that I was very connected with myself. I was very self-aware, and I was very conscious, and I even got injured in my ACL, and I had an entourage taking care of my body, and I was doing everything in a perfect way, and things still happen, because life, entropy, it's inevitable. It is. That's life. That's why we need to shower. If not, a body, you can die if you don't shower and you don't drink and you don't eat. Even the survival, the existence, it's not fun. That's what we don't understand. It's not fun. It's necessary. So when you start getting it, understanding it, I think, and like, yeah, it's what I posted yesterday, the Paulo Coelho, and a story, the Paulo Coelho phrase that it's not about what the outcome gives you, is what you become by reaching the outcome. So in the end, the outcome is a consequence, literally. It's a consequence. Because even the outcomes, I'm telling you, even the outcomes for even ourselves and our brain, it's always going to be subjective. Always, because whatever you feel reaching, imagine like this. I always put this example with my friends and with people about, for example, Instagram. Right now, Instagram is getting in a way, but for example, if you give the power to likes, right? Likes. Imagine that I get to 1,000 likes and someone else lands 1,000 likes. 1,000, right? Just put a number like that. And I will say it, and it's not in an arrogant way. Myself with 6 million followers, 1,000, it means that I don't have engagement, and it's terrible. But then for a person that has 500 followers, 1,000, it means like, oh, something is there, right, guys? So the 1,000 is still 1,000, guys. It's money. It is. That's why the world is not about judging people, man. So that's why you don't judge. It's like you listen, not in a listening. You listen. You see yourself. Because if something fucking triggers you, it's something that you need to listen. I will not feel triggered if something very, honestly, very far off the reality that I want to live, or my reality is not, I'm not going to feel nothing. So I feel emotions sometimes, and those thoughts are like notifications too, are notifications, because you will not think, like your ego, your fear will never fear something that your even ego knows that you could go through. So fear is a notification. If you're feeling fear, it's because even your intuition is telling you sooner or later it's going to come, or there's something in there. I don't know what is it. just go and try and figure it out, right? So that's why it's within to outwards. I don't know how to say it, but it's not the other way around. So I overachieved so many things thinking, and my thrive was very, very big. First of all, for the void that I was feeling, and plus because I thought that was it was like in my very, because I'm a Gemini, in my very like how you say it, like very square and stubborn way of thinking, it was like, that's what this game is about. Let me just overachieve, let me achieve, let me push, let me do over. And then there was a moment when you like, I did it, like I look back and I was like, oh my God, how much I run or where I am. But then it was like where I am, I always run this far thinking that when I reach this point, I was gonna feel heaven, right? This fulfillment, this abundance way of living, right? But then it's not about being rich, it's about being wealthy. That's two very different things, right? It's not about just fucking have family, have the great job, have the great car, have everything. It's about the abundance that you can already be, not even feel, because it's not a feel, it's a being. Everything is a being. It's a being, and to become has a process. That's it. Even to become very enlightened, become whatever, become very peaceful, become very abundant, become very wealthy. It's processes, man. That's why everything is a process. I even think that life is a process. It's a constant process. Like it's a moment, right? But your life could be a 90-year moment, right? Or 100-year moment, but it's a moment. It's a moment. So everything is about the moments. That's why they attach the attachment. That is not this typical attach that you feel. The attach of the attachment is about how is the lens, their lenses, right? So life is like that, man. I say goodbye and it still feels. So it's not about not feeling. It's about being resilient with your feelings, but resilient not because you have to. Resilient because you understand that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of life. That's why we breathe. That's why we take and then we exhale. So even air, we don't have constant, like even that, man. Even words came out and they're gone, and then other things happen. Like nothing is forever. Nothing is fucking linear. That's a beautiful part of it, man. Beautiful. Even that we're gonna die is beautiful because it makes this finite and it makes it, oh my God, not in a rush to get it. I think, Ray, I don't know what you think, Andrew. It's not about the rush, but it's about of like, okay, inside myself, let me fucking sing without singing lessons, bro. I saw you and I was like, those are balls because, I love how to sing and I hate it. And sometimes in my streams I do it. So that's why it's like, wow, that's a fucking cool, that's life, right? That's fucking life. And that's why sorry, it was, I was gonna like vomit it very, very obnoxious probably, but it was, I understood why I become famous and how I'm using fame. You know why? To free myself. Because they are my mirrors and they are whatever. And imagine this philosophical that the conscious is one, but thinking it like this, Andrew and Ray, it's like a way of like, if I put it out there, by putting it out there, whatever the reactions or whatever they can say or whatever, I think it's more brave to be vulnerable and open up and share than the critique or the judgment that we all do. Don't worry. There are things that I don't like and there are things that I like. Don't get me wrong. But it's not about taking people down. That I think that's what media and everything, and there's another subject. I have differences, but that's why, and that's why I'm sharing this. I'm sharing myself. Because even this vulnerability, and it's very paradoxical, but in the moment that I share in a very, because it is selfish, self-develop and very selfish life that I'm doing because I want to share, to free myself, to be more like light, and I don't give, if I don't know, fucking 1 million, I don't give a shit. It's like to that, and then that touch people in a very inspirational way just for them to become themselves. I believe that's kind of like a synergy, alchemy, I don't know how to say it, like it is. That's why I believe we all share in this way, because I think you need to love yourself to love, right? But as well, we love And people don't dare to say it. It is selfish, but selfish is just a word and it's just an action. It's not about negative or positive, I think. We are here just to fucking even learn how to love, right? And then I give, and giving is for what it makes you feel, and then what it creates, right? It's like the water. You water a plant because you want to see that plant grow, first of all. And secondly, because you know that it's gonna help that plant. So, and then the plant grows and it's fucking amazing, right? I give my kids food because I want them to be healthy and safe. That's a selfish perspective, period. But then I'm fucking taking care of them, loving them, helping them through the process. So yeah, I mean, it sounds very paradoxical and all of that stuff, but I love these conversations and I love these platforms as well, man. And that's why when I know, because I am not my fame, I am not my money. Don't get me wrong, nothing is, how to say, nothing is given. Like I earn it, and but like, don't get me wrong, one thing is one, another is another. Why I'm saying this? Because that's the beauty of it. Because yes, reality and the physical reality is part of this game of like, just practice whatever you believe, no? Because it is, man, it is. Because yeah, that's the game. That's why it's very paradoxical.
For sure. I think you may have actually provided an answer to your own question of what is surrender, in exactly what you're talking about. Surrender is recognizing that it has nothing to do with your value, that you're just continuing on. Your value is immeasurable as you go through that experience. Whereas most of the time we get so caught up trying to feel like our value can be measured, can be raised or lowered, and especially using other people's perceptions to kind of justify that mentality. And that kind of goes back to something you were saying earlier about frequency, because I've thought about that for a long time. And I think it's less about frequency and more about distortion of that frequency. I think that the frequency of what is constant, but we get distorted. It's kind of like we're not quite dialed in to what it is because we're thinking about ourselves. And when we're not, that's when we're just continuing on.
It's kind of like I heard, I think it was Rumi, that it says like, we didn't here to learn or to learn how to love. We came here to take out all of the layers that the love that we already are. Exactly, you're right. Exactly, seeing it like that, it's not that we get that. It's like we all are in that frequency. We just getting in another ones because of the society, games, ideas, your traumas, and etc. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah, and it makes total sense. Yeah.
I think that ties into flow state as well. Like flow state, in my opinion, isn't necessarily a thing that you get to, that you like achieve. It's like, I've achieved flow state. It's just what's left when you're not thinking about yourself quite so much, when you're not thinking about yourself. And that's why you hear people talk about flow state, and they talk about, like, a musician or an artist, they forget to eat, they forget to sleep, they forget to go to the bathroom, because it's like, it's such an extreme depth into the experience that they're having that they don't even consider some of the bodily shit that they're so used to focusing on, and how it all comes back to us and to our willingness to not be so sure of what we think we are. And to your point in regards to, doing everything perfectly and still having an injury like that, like, this isn't about control. It's just about our response to whatever we go through. And we're so quick to be like, oh, something like that, like ACL injury. Oh, it's brutal. Like, I remember, especially the second time when I found out from the doctor, I was fucking crying. I was like, fuck. And it took a couple hours. And then I was like, wait a second. I don't know. It happened skiing. I was like, I don't know. I could have, I like to go pretty fast, go off big jumps. And it was like, I could have kept on that trajectory for the rest of the winter, fucking gone off a crazy jump, hit a tree, fucking died. Like, you don't know if what you're going through is actually as bad as it seems. And to your point, you had the opportunity to be left with yourself. You were so used to running around doing things and literally on the pitch, on the field, but also just in yourself, in your life, just always doing things. And I loved the comparison, doing versus being. And I think a lot of people don't have the opportunity to be left with themselves and consider, what is that void that I've felt for my whole life, that I've kind of subtly run from without even realizing it? Like, what is that? Well, it's like, it's you here now, without all of the things that you think you are, without all of the ideas of what you think you are. And so I think, especially with something like that, at least for you, how I'm seeing it is, it was an opportunity for you to question a massive part of you, someone who is always doing things. This very well-known, famous soccer player. This is a thing that you are, is a massive part of that idea of what you thought you were. And so something like that, as terrible as it seems in the moment, as detrimental as it may seem, it's the opportunity for you to question something else, a massive component of that's almost taking you out of that flow state. It's not to say there's anything wrong with seeing yourself as, a soccer player, even just for example, or a football player, but that's still not you. That's still something in the way of that flow state. What's left, that freedom, that untethered state. You said the ideas, they're not something that we have. They're something that have us. It's that perspective of ourself. It cuts us off from recognizing what we truly are, which isn't what you think it is ever. That's just it. It's not something. It's just not what you think. So as those ideas come up, it's like they're easy to hold on to until they're not there anymore, until you can't sit on it anymore, until you can't move, until you're on the couch for 2 weeks and you have to ask your friend to grab your phone. It's a couple feet away. It's like sometimes we need those things to shake those ideas enough. And so we see them even with that. It's like, oh yeah, nothing's good or bad, but like ACL is kind of bad. It's like, no, it's not even that. It's just another opportunity to see yourself a little bit differently than you saw yourself previously.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Andrew. I mean, I'm gonna confirm what because I've been thinking what you're saying right now, what Ray said, for example, because he's true about the frequency. It's just about not being like, I don't know the word that he used, that distorted or distortion. You know what I mean? It's like we all already a frequency, like the greatest frequency, if you want to put it like that, right? It's just about realize when you are not in that frequency to get you back. So it looks like you have to do something, but it's not like that. You are being taken away yourself of that frequency unconsciously, right? That one day, and I remember something, one of my friends, my mentor, and he's a very philosophical guy too, he said this, that even the becoming is like, sometimes the becoming is not even like doing something. It's more of like, let things happen. It's not even yeah, it sounds very trippy, man, but it's like, it's not that I'm gonna, yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how to use an example. Instead of doing a call, sometimes the call is gonna come to you, but sometimes the other way around. No, sometimes it's you feel, and like the ideas, right? Like I told you, like the ideas that sometimes we say because it's there. That's it. Like you are already, right? And I think the trying, the pushing, sometimes it's even yourself stopping, not even of the flow state, stopping of living the life that you deserve, that you truly deserve, right? Because that's why the surrender, that's why the energy is like the ACL is, of course, we can cry, and you cry, Andrew, and I cry, and we feel. It's not about that. Is in this moment you surrender. And if you let yourself truly, I think, he's not being surprised of like, typical cliche, I'm going to be surprised. No, it's more of it's happening for a reason. It's happening for a fucking reason. That's why it's something that I learned when I was a kid, and it is very superficial, and I don't like it that much, but I understand the message. And my parents, for example, they were saying this, and it's true. It's like, there's always going to be in a better position than you in any subject, right? Could be more rich, less rich. They have different problems, more problems, right? That's why I think people, when we suffer death, when we are close to death, when sickness, when health, when ACLs, when those things happen, it's a very hard and raw like lesson to us to realize what is important. I think death put everything in perspective. What is important of now? Even these hard conversations, when you are close to death, they're not even hard conversations anymore, because I mean, you know what I mean? So that's why, yeah, I understand with you, and I understand, and I completely agree with what Ray says. Yeah, it's more about becoming, but the becoming, it's more of becoming, is more let yourself be yourself. Or
Exactly.
of sometimes feel, right? I think so. No, I think it's what it makes sense. I mean, not makes sense. I think it's what we don't know sometimes how to do it, right?
Yeah, you never really know how to be yourself because you're always being yourself. You're always yourself. Yeah, not be yourself. And so when you're trying to think about how to be myself, it's just take that step. It's just do it and find out. And so I think even with the perspective of allowing things to happen, I think there's a balance with that, because people will get caught up in the conversation of, oh, the universe told me this, the universe is showing me that. But we pass off the recognition that you are the universe finding out. It's not that the universe is happening to you. It's not that the universe is teaching you something. It's that you are the universe at the forefront of reality finding out. And so as you go through things, that's the universe going through something. As you allow something to happen, let go of the idea that you know what's going to happen, that you know that this thing that you're going through is definitely a bad thing or definitely a good thing or definitely the thing that you think it is. That's the entire fucking universe seeing that in that way, shifting that perspective, allowing something to be left as it is, allowing it to be uncertain, the universe finding out about itself. And so you mentioned that void before, the idea, like the clinging, the striving to figure out what that is. And it's you as reality, but it's not what you think. We build this whole identity, from when we're kids. We grow up measuring ourselves relative to other people, comparing ourselves because we think we are what we think we are, and we're not. And so what's left is just you here now, that never changing experience of you here now finding out. And so the opportunity that comes with that, it's just about you here now and your response to the situation that you're in. There's no control in that. There's no certainty in that, but that's the beauty in it. We strive for control. We strive for certainty, but we don't even fucking want that. Imagine if we knew exactly how things were going to go. It'd be brutal. It'd be terrible, right? It's like the uncertainty that we run from is the thing that makes life beautiful. It's the thing that gives it its beauty itself. And so as you go through things, it's not that we're finding out what the universe is trying to tell us, it's that we're finding out and being found out and sharing with ourselves, interacting with ourselves, dealing with ourselves. And this actually brings me to something you've said in the past in regards to, other people and other people's perceptions. And this is something, you've dealt with. You've been in the spotlight for a massive part of your life. And you said previously that the noise from other people who doubt you is part of your own self-doubt. And that light bulb went off in my head. I'm just curious.
What do you want me to explain? Yes. Look. It was why I end in that like conclusion kind of way, and it was because it's not about what they say, it's what it makes you feel. If someone comes and tell me I look like I don't know, whatever, like I don't know, if I have green eyes, I'm not gonna feel nothing. It's like I'm gonna laugh. It's like that. But if they tell me, hey, your hair lossing or whatever, it makes you feel. So the self-doubt per se, it's not the comment, it's not the comment, it's what it makes you feel. So if it makes you feel, it's because or you don't like that about yourself and you need to accept it, and then you can change it. You can, if you want to put practice on it, like for example the singing thing. If you don't like to be said that you sing terrible, okay, try to sing, go to lessons. You can do, like, I am a believer because of the universe, and I use it like this mix of reality and philosophical. In the end, I understand the truly philosophical like meanings, but for example, I believe everyone can do whatever they want. The thing is, if you want to excel, there's people that they have height, weight, things of reality that you cannot change, that they could benefit that. That's the beauty part of it. Like I could try to be a basketball player now, and I probably could become a basketball player. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna get professional, sign for the Lakers, and score fucking 50 points in the stadium, man. Or I said another example, the lawyer thing. I could be a lawyer, but probably try to be a lawyer is gonna be more difficult than learning a new sport, for example, in my reality, right? So the sense of you can do whatever you want to do. It's more for people to relax and find out what do you want and what you are good at it too. Because there are things that you probably like and you are not good at it. And it's shocking and it's painful, but it's part of this life, man. I didn't choose to come from Mexico, for example, even though that I love it. I didn't choose to be like to born in a soccer player family. If it was a NFL family, it could be NFL, or if it was swimming, I don't know, or don't worry, don't get me wrong, could be scientifics or doctors, whatever. So that's why and I'm saying all of this because of the doubt. It's because if it triggers you, it's something about you, not something about they say. So that's why fame helped me. That's why I'm telling you, I use it. That tool helped me to fucking grow inside myself. Because if there are things that I don't accept still, it's about me. If there are things that I don't dare to change that other people are saying, it's on me. In the end, it's on me. I have both solutions. I accept it and surrender, and then it doesn't affect me because I accept it and surrender, and it's fine. And then even if I don't know, it's fucking okay if I don't know that. It's not about knowing or not knowing. For example, a phrase that my mother told me since I was a kid that I love it. In English doesn't make, I cannot translate it probably with the meaning, I'm sorry because of my language, but it says like, we all ignore something. We just ignore different things. We all are ignorance. Even Einstein was an ignorant. He couldn't kick a soccer ball. Don't get me wrong. So everyone, we all ignore. We just ignore different things. So it's not about who's more ignorant or not. It's just about, I'm very good in some stuff and I have knowledge and I'm dead. But then I ignore so many things. So that's why the acceptance of not knowing something that you could change. Yeah, you could change. Man, you can. There are things because of time and situations that, of course, if right now I decide to become, I don't know, a professional, I don't know, another sport, a diving guy, it's more complicated if you start at 16. So that's why life, it's about this duality, like your podcast. That's why I love it, and the yin yang. That's life, man. It's like, it's very paradoxical. Inside, you don't have to figure it out. Inside, you need to embrace and take layers and be so. In reality, you start figuring out. Because realistically, when you surrender to that void and to that, it's not that you get answers. Everything gets clearer. There's no answer. Just like Ray said it, you get into that frequency so high in this being state of like, of course, imagine it's fulfillment and abundant, man. So what do you need? Nothing. So now it's pure creative mode by just the fucking pleasure of creating and see what happens. If I touch, like, if I myself do 1 billion because of that, oh, cool. If it was 500 million, oh, cool. If it was 10K, cool. It's not about that. If I become the most famous guy on internet, because now the why or the intention where it's coming, it's in a different frequency, like right, well, or the frequency, the frequency or the flow state that we all know how to do it or be, but it's like we overcomplicate ourselves with this fucking thing here. Absolutely. That it's because of ourselves, free right? Will, I think right? So, no? Right? It's like, I think so. That's what I realized, that I was the one even like putting obstacles, in front of myself, just of stupid things, man. Like you said it, Andrew. They're just ideas that they are so, when you realize, and they're so, so light and little, just to put it like that. Because then, of course, there's other situations in life. If tomorrow I receive a call that my mom is getting sick and is about to die, that's a fucking reality. And even the idea of like, yeah, she's gonna die, or she might die, that's when you feel it, both. That's why it's the trick. The idea is telling you that, yes, it might happen. Surrender. Hey, you might become whatever. Surrender. Hey, you might not become. Surrender. Hey, your mother could live 500 years more. Surrender, right? Like the surrender, people think it's a lack of, because we never felt when we criticize it, that the surrender is a not doing nothing. just surrender. And it's like this, like surrender and you become like meditate, like you're meditating forever and you don't move. No, man, surrender. It's a freeing. It's surrender of the uncertainty. It's like literally the fucking water of the pool is freezing. Yeah. Was a surrender, you jump, motherfucker. And you feel it. That's surrender. That's why that imagine if my mother dies tomorrow, I cannot revive her. It's impossible. It's about how you react to things. I think so, to your brain.
Well, it's interesting because you said something else there earlier regarding doubt and the thoughts that go through our head, which is just relax. And I was raised Roman Catholic. And so I got drilled with the story and Jesus and the commandments and the whole bit. And
Man.
As I started to grow up, right.
Me too.
As I started to grow up and I became disillusioned, I walked away from all that. But now that I'm looking at this for what it is, it's just incredible to me because what we're saying is the exact same thing that Jesus was saying, which is just relax, have faith,
exactly,
be humble,
exactly,
and we're all
love
in this
everyone,
together.
love everyone, literally love everyone.
They're all you.
Exactly.
That's it, right? So the thing we're trying to be is what we are. And all we're really doing is surrendering to that. And that is God. And it's so funny because everybody wants to make it out to be this external thing when it's something that we are collectively just by willing to be individually whole.
Yeah. Amen. Because exactly, that's what I realized, man. I was very Catholic and I still have a ritual that I do in soccer because it means not only for me, for my family. And it's not what I say always. And I love that you brought this religious thing because we don't speak that much because in my point of view, for example, it's not about if I'm Catholic or not. It's that I understood what all religions are trying to tell you. To follow the gods, to follow the big figures, trying to do what they did, right? Because what they did, I think, is they were just so enlightened. I don't know how to say it. That was the difference. And yes, they might probably, like Jesus, transform water to wine, but probably I can do it if I'm in this fucking state. Who tells me that it's not? If no one has ever tried it, I understand, man. That's why, wow, because I was thinking about that too. It's like, yeah, man, religious were correct. The thing is interpretation again that we as humans, and that's a beautiful part of it, give to it. And then you know how organizations, and we always try to do things that I don't even judge it. It's part, and it's all right. The beautiful part, it's in what I call it, wake up, because the wake up is not about only changing. The wake up is just realize who you fucking are, because you are way more than you think, but not more of no, it's it's a fucking very fulfilled and amazing feeling, right? That it's of like you said it, it sounds very arrogant, but I think when you touch that flow state, Andrew, whoever it is, and that's why we pay so much to artists, to athletes, to very because what they share, this so flow state, and people, and I don't give a shit, but it's true, you enter in a very God mode of creating, just purely connected with all the centuries, because there's no time, all of that, man. And it sounds terrible, but it is, bro. It is. I think it is. And we are scared of that. And I understand. Look, another thing that it happens to me, and I tattoo myself, have a lion here. And it says down there, embrace your light. Because then I realized was the most terrifying thing that I was terrified at the moment. Still a part of that void, I'm going to put it in different words, the void. It's not your failure, so it's not even the pain. It's truly become yourself. Be so enlightening, because imagine how overwhelming that can be, man. Yeah, right? I understood that. I was like, what I was afraid my whole life, it's to be me. Because that self-doubt that you need to develop, that, yeah, man, that's the thing. It's not about how much you can lose. No, it's the other way around, motherfucker. It's how much you can fucking create. Everyone. I don't give a shit who, right? Even those that we call sometimes NPCs that, I don't know. I was an NPC and then I just woke up and I was like, okay, I'm still in an NPC in certain things, but it was more of Okay. Okay. So that I think that's why, and I understand it. I felt it, but I understand it when people are that. I understand you. If I agree or not, it's a different thing, but I understand you, man. It's overwhelming. Yeah, it's not easy. It's simple. We communicate that, and you can, man. You can, and hopefully you can do it sooner than later. It doesn't matter which age you can do it at 60s or 10. I don't care. But sooner or later, I think the cool part will be that you have kind of, because we never know if tomorrow we die, even though it's an idea if you see like what I'm gonna say. But you have more time in this life awake and in pure, powerful mode that I call you are in control of yourself. It's not about controlling the outside to make you feel good yourself. It's controlling yourself to accept and overcome, not accept, overcome whatever it happened there. As painful and as overwhelming and as great and as whatever it is that you want to put over there. I think that's the kind, I think, meaning of life. That, I mean, meaning could be 20 million. It's not about finding one answer, but it's what I think is what it makes sense inside ourselves, right, guys? I think so. We all do like this, not because it's an idea, it's because it's a process that it's not that we reach and then we stay. No, it's a process that we do it constant, right?
Yeah. And I love getting into, the higher minded stuff, the recognition that you're the universe, your reality, your God experiencing itself. But what it really comes down to is, as you were saying, it's being yourself without hesitation. It's that hesitation of, oh, can I really just let go? Can I really just do what that initial gut instinct is to do? Can I really just say what that thing that I wanted to say was? Because that's it. That's being God. And enthusiasm, Ray's brought it up a number of times, but enthusiasm, what's the definition? To toil with God?
The etymology is to be possessed by God.
To be possessed by God. And that's just it. Because enthusiasm is just doing something for the sake of doing something to such a depth that there isn't a hesitation or a concern of how am I doing? How does this look? What do people think? Blah, 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 blah. Because it's always that. It's what I think I am. That's the wall. That creates the hesitation. Oh, I'm this. Even if you have a positive idea of yourself, if it doesn't include a thing that's driving you to do something, an action, that gut instinct, if that doesn't match that idea, there's that gap, there's that hesitation. And so it's not about having a positive idea of yourself, even. It's about being willing to step through and just keep being it, keep surrendering, in the sense that you aren't concerned with what it's going to mean about some fictitious idea that's just an assumption that you can't even say with absolute certainty is what you are. It's just your own assumption, and you don't even know what other people think of you. You can't see you from other people's point of view. So there's no certainty with that. You have an idea. My idea of you is different. Ray's idea of you is different. Your idea of you is different. Which one is fucking correct? The billions of people who have watched you play soccer, they're all different. They all see Javier differently. So what the fuck one is correct? Well, none of them can be. The odds that yours is correct is so low that it's essentially zero, that it is zero, because it's just a conceptual idea anyway. And so it's not really about that. It's not even necessarily about recognizing that you're this whole thing. It's like, an example I like to use that I think ties into what you were saying before. It's not like recognizing that you're more than what you are in this like egotistical sense, like, oh, I'm great and I'm powerful. It's almost as if, you thought for your whole life that you were in the ocean and you were this cup in the ocean that with a cap on it, and you were that. But it wasn't that you were a bigger cup. It was that those walls of the cup were just self-created. They were self-defined. And without that cup, what's left? The whole fucking ocean. You, beyond the conceptual idea of what you think you are. That's everything. That doesn't have any bounds, even.
And that's when you are not alone. That's what I understand. It's not that I'm alone. I can stand now myself alone, but you're never alone, because connectivity is even inevitable. Like inevitable. I don't know how to say it. Like it is. Even if we see it, cliche ways of movies too. It's connectivity. It's you. Like it's part of everyone wants to be listened or talked just by the sake of connectivity, right? Just even, and whatever the intention it is. So yeah, of course, Andrew, I said this and it's very superficial, but I like it in a way. Like if someone, like if you find a conscious human, it's because it's very brave. Because yeah, it's not pleasant. The process together and even create a habit, it's not pleasant, man. That's why be truly authentic, brother. And I understand it scares the shit out of you, and I understand it because it's so overwhelming beautifully, bro. Like crying all the time, not by crying, by being in awe and amazed and touched by reality, man. I have a friend that is one of my mentors in that way. It's like literally, it's he's 40 something, he's old, but he has this so wow, like awe and naiveness that even that's why they yin yang. That's his like his karma and his things to learn because he's like a kid in that sense. So he needs to learn how to be an adult in a way to boundaries. But brother, I understand why we are so afraid to be authentic. And you know why? Something that it's because yeah, it's not about selling that it's nice, it's beautiful, it's pleasant, it's God. No, bro, because responsibility like raises. And then my responsibility in the reality of the God that we're going to speak are completely different. And yes, I'm going to tell you, no, the other way around. As more flow state or God state you are, yeah, the level of the simulation of the game, it gets harder, bro. That's what people don't understand, even money and fame. It's, bro, you don't see it, but whatever. Yeah, I understand that, for example, if you don't have a home and you need to eat, you get money. But don't get me wrong, but then more money, they think they're going to keep having the same problems, but they don't realize that the challenges are different. And you know why it's even harder? Because the challenges, you don't even know those challenges because every challenge is the lesson to become. The challenge of even in video games is not about I put Mario and go shrooms and then I jump and I did it. No, it's about what you need to learn, the movements to go to the next level. But then the next level, doing at once, you can be lucky. The whole game at once is impossible or not. Someone can do it, cool. But for us, every level you need to learn to become the other level, not because you have to be a level. It's part of life. It's the growth that our soul tells us. The body grows, man. Our mobile tells us to grow. So inside, that's the thing. Like you said it with the frequency. In the inside, we don't want to grow because growth is uncertainty, clumsiness, not knowing, not having control, feel whatever. That's growth, bro. In whatever you want to put it. That's why we don't want it. That's why our ego it's built now and beautiful now that is not survival mode. I mean, we need to be safe, but now we don't have mammoths and lions chasing us, right? We don't need my ego to tell me, oh, plan move, I need to run. Like, no, now the ego, it's if you have likes, if you don't have likes, if you speak about you, if you sing well, if you kick bad, oh, you are old, oh, this podcast is terrible, oh, fucking stupidity, right? But that's beautiful. It's not stupidity. It's part of your game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. You used an expression earlier, and we're going to have to wrap up here shortly, but I think this is a good way to do it. You used the expression God mode earlier. And what's interesting is that in God mode, usually people are thinking about video games, and it's where you have all the control. But the actual God mode in this reality, in life itself, is vulnerability, is actually not having control and not needing control and being able to just adapt as you move forward. And that's truly enjoying the game, as opposed to limiting it down to very, very simple things that don't teach you anything.
Amazing. That was like not having nothing because yes, exactly. Vulnerability. I mean, the world, even the significant tells you, yeah, vulnerabilities, there's risk, but yeah, that's why the brave part, it's more brave to give you my full trust at once that's the way that I live, that give you 1% to you earn this trust, for example, using that analogy of the old phrase, right? Yeah, vulnerabilities open up and it's like, I call it like being naked internally, not physically. And it feels similar sometimes, you know, me telling you my darkest side, my struggles and everything is like showing my body that is not perfect and making myself completely. But yeah, of course it feels, yeah, but that's when I start. It's not that no, because it's not that I start creating habits. It's just I start doing it by not even like an adrenaline junkie and the feeling junkie. No, it's just because that's me. That conscious that we call, exactly, that's us, the conscious. If honestly I wanted to be conscious and connected with all the time, that's why I think it's death in a certain way. That's why death is there, because that's the next step of connectivity. Like, yeah, you are now, you go back to the fucking ether, the source, you are there again and whatever, we don't know, I think. But now that I'm not, then I take the best out of this living, I think. I don't know if it makes sense, but that's when, yeah, that's when, yes, you have, that's why when I understand the other expression of myself in other people of like, you need to grind, you need to push, yeah, you need to work, yeah, you need a structure, you need to do that. That's why it's the intention from where it's coming to become that God mode. Then people think that become a God mode, it's fucking scoring 3 goals or playing the piano in the most, I don't know, Beethoven way or whatever. But the code mode, it's when you connect with yourself and even having a conversation with your partner, your associate, your mother, or even just say thank you, but deeply, or help, or sorry. Like that's the God mode. That's the flow mode. Flow mode is life. We use superficiality to grow. Of course, if you aim high, I understand. If you aim high, fuck it. Yeah, the lessons. It's like university. I understand it. The lessons. If you want a fucking degree in a fucking amazing university, well, entering is difficult, maintaining is difficult, getting a scholarship is difficult if you don't have like, yeah, that's the beauty of it. That's why the extraordinary and ordinary life. There's no better life. It's everyone in their own time and space, man, of this consciousness that it came. That's the beautiful part. That for me, probably speaking to 100 or 1,000 people in a stadium or playing for them in front of them, literally it feels different. Obviously it's not the same like physicality, but deep inside it could be as difficult as you singing, brother, in Instagram. Why not? Yeah, then in reality, of course, man, as much they see you, that's why pressure and motivation, they're tricks only. It's energy. It's just energy. Of course you feel it. It's just energy. I said it. When I realized that in the stadiums, it was like, why I cannot listen them when I'm playing? Not only because of the flow mode, because the energy. That's what sometimes people tell you, like the crowds matter, because it's the energy that if you don't, in your go mode moment, you don't realize or be self-aware or accept it and surrender, or even you can laugh about yourself like, fuck, my fucking legs are shaking. When you realize everything goes away, when you realize that you're afraid, you are not afraid anymore. Simple as that. In so negative, that's what happens to me. And then when I realized, like, oh, I'm nervous, and then suddenly 50% went down. I could still be nervous and excited, but then everything is less because you already see it. The ego doesn't want to be seen.
Exactly.
Yeah, the ego doesn't want to be seen. So when it's like when you see it, like, motherfucker, I saw you. And then sometimes I say it, I saw you, get the fuck out of here. And sometimes I said, hey, I saw you and thank you, because I needed to listen to the ego in that moment, or the idea, because it's something, it's not me deep enough, but it's a part of me. You cannot kill the ego. Not even Gandhi or Buddha killed it. They control it and they rewire it, and they use that part of themselves in different ways. If not, we don't. I mean, I think the ego is like a representation of the body, because we can meditate and connect the whole universe, but then you want to this reality that we are in a fucking sphere in space that it doesn't make sense, right? Or if it's flat or it's not flat, like whatever it is, but like okay, there's a reality, no? And we touch it, and okay, even though there is energy, and okay, now that's when you need to, I think, yeah, it's like being in control more than let the ego control us. That I think we all experience that when you are
Responsibility
young, and
again,
responsibility.
right? Yeah, absolutely. Javier, we are going to wrap up the episode here quickly. I did want to just say thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really want to get into some more stuff, specifically about the perspective of division and all of that. It would be great to have you back on the show. And aside from that, we would love to have you maybe come to one of our retreats one day, because we do this in person every couple of months.
No, yeah, guys,
That'd be a
you
lot
can
of
let
fun.
me know about the schedule. We figured out the schedule, and I can jump here. And then, I mean, obviously, if I can go to one of your retreats, that will be amazing.
Absolutely. No, I'm excited that you're out there, and I'm excited that you're another example of just how you can excel at something, do it for all the right reasons, feel all the pull around you to think about yourself and really like value yourself higher and get really full of yourself, and that you're not, you know, like you're looking at that and taking every opportunity you can to kind of just peel that shit away so you can enjoy your life. So from my side, I just want to say it's been a pleasure, man. I look forward to having you back.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure too. Thank you very much, Ray.
Yeah, super excited to continue this conversation at some point. And the last thing I wanted to add in regards to God is it's not something that you become. It's not something that you achieve. It's what you already are. And when you realize that you're not what you think, it's what's left, because God is everything and everywhere, experiencing everything all the time. So that includes nerves. That includes buildup of energy. God gets nervous.
Yes,
God
even
gets
this
nervous.
bottle of water is God. Yeah, everything needs
Exactly.
God. Yeah.
And in regards to death isn't something that happens to you. It isn't the end of you. It's just the end of the idea. But if that idea can end today, then that's freedom, right? The ability to die before you die, in a sense, allows you to experience the rest of your life as God, not in the sense that everything is perfect all the time, but it is. And it's not about one side or the other. It's the entirety of the spectrum as you go through it. And so, Javier, this has been a fucking awesome conversation.
Oh,
This was
thank you.
as fun as I could have even imagined, even expected, exceeded any and all expectations. You're an impressive dude, and your mentality, especially given everything you've been through in your life, is incredible. I'm very excited to chat again soon and keep in touch, and hopefully get you to a retreat one day.
Of course, that will be amazing. Oh, thank you, guys. I've been, like I told you since the beginning, very blessed, humble, happy, and I knew it was going to be an amazing conversation, and I love it. I learned a lot about you guys, and yeah, hopefully we can finish and wrap this conversation in another moment, like completely, because there's a lot of subjects and a lot to tell, but that's a beautiful part as well, that there's a lot. But yeah, man, thank you very much. Take care, and we stay in contact for sure, guys.
It's a never-ending conversation. I look forward to having you back more than once if we can, for sure. Thank you for listening, everyone. We will see you next time. Do take care. Javier, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.